5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Dangerzone. I'm sitting down with Scotty Roessler. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Danger Zone. Honored to be here, Mr. Brown. How you been?
Good.
It's been a good time hanging out here in Colorado Springs, rocking some Warrior Games together.
Yeah, loving this altitude.
You've got an amazing photo I'm about to post on Instagram. Jesus on the track and field, looking beautiful.
The luscious locks just.
Oh yeah.
Rocketing behind
Your
us.
woman's gonna be jealous because there's gonna be a lot of ladies.
Oh yeah.
Clicking a likey button.
Yeah.
On
Well, what do you call me? Jesus.
Jesus, yeah. It's codename Jesus.
So I've been called a lot worse things. I don't mind it when people call me Jesus.
Yeah, it's a term of endearment and respect. You and I don't get a lot of that from other folks because they don't necessarily understand our sense of humor.
I call you Scotty Too Hottie.
And I appreciate that. And every time I hear the E come off the hottie, a little bit of dick movement takes place.
Scotty Too Hottie is a wrestler. He does the worm.
Yeah.
He was.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Man.
I could have been that guy.
Yeah.
There's cloning going on. Maybe I am.
Dude, my brother and I had plans to be like
pro
wrestlers together.
You guys would be bad.
We're going to be the Brown brothers.
You know, who were those two cats everyone loved? And then one of them ended up getting hoisted up into the air and the cable broke.
What?
He smashed into the...
wasn't it the
Bret Hart?
Yeah, the Hartley
the
brothers.
Hart brothers.
The Hart brothers.
Yeah.
One of them got.
Story was that was an inside gig because they were both trying to sue McMahon.
Oh wow.
And that some shit went down. But I mean, thousands of conspiracy theories out there.
Damn.
But I know this: if my brother died, there'd be a lot of dead motherfuckers at the top.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't fuck around.
Yeah.
You know, there's no second chances you fuck with family.
No. Yeah, I was on.
Or Jesus, for that matter.
I was on the warpath when my brother got blown up in Afghanistan and burned real bad. You better believe I was on the warpath, and it wasn't until basically going into my third deployment that I realized that I had kind of like set that to rest. But yeah.
You didn't set it to rest. You just put it away for the time being. At some point in time, it'll come back to the surface, and then you'll have to work your way and put it in a file cabinet.
I would say it'd be a big difference if he had actually died. You know, the fact that it was hard to like hold that sort of vendetta when you see your brother doing so well as a wounded guy, like
good point.
Doing so good in his recovery, meeting his wife in the hospital, nurse dietitian. You know, having 3 beautiful kids, like okay. His life
he's let it go.
Better.
He's recovered and moved on.
Yeah.
So most sense in you being pissed off about it still, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes some sense. That's my captain. Sorry to interrupt you. My captain, Ben Harrow, my team leader in 2012. I was a team daddy, and my first deployment as a team sergeant with 7th Special Force Group, and he ended up stepping on a PPID, lost both his legs above the knees, and he's lucky he didn't die that day. Got him to the roll 3 in we had dust off, bird on the ground in 15 minutes post-blast.
Oh, wow.
And got his ass back to Kandahar, roll 3. So within about 30 to 35 minutes or so, he was in the emergency room being assessed. And as soon as the surgeon started loosening up his 2 tourniquets, blood was gushing because both his femorals were obviously severely damaged.
Yeah.
And, or wait, you only got 1 femoral. No, there's 2 femorals. Go down both legs. Anyway, I'm not a doctor. He went through a long, lengthy recovery process and set the standard for all our soft brothers, period. And if you dig him up on YouTube,
what's his name again?
Captain Benjamin Harrow, Harrow. He's walking on 2 prosthetics. He's taller than me again. And the way he achieved that was through some serious pain and suffering and determination.
Yeah.
but I don't want to ruin the story. Let the viewers do some digging on their own and find out who Captain Ben Harrow is, and be amazed with where his life's turned to now. Had another baby, wife's a super strong, awesome advocate.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of speaking engagements, and he's done some stuff with Gary Sinise Foundation.
Oh, nice.
Whole host of other benevolent organizations out there. Great guy.
Awesome. Well, so people should go check him out for sure. Let's get people up to speed on you.
All right.
What's the bio here? Let's introduce him to Scotty.
So Scotty joined the service in '94 after graduating high school. Went and spent 4 years in 2nd Ranger Battalion out of Fort Lewis, '94 to '98. Got out, was going to school in Seattle, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I was married at the time to a beautiful little lady, Miss Tony Davis, and life was good. Post military, I didn't really have that sense of camaraderie and brotherhood and all that good stuff, especially spending post high school with the Ranger Regiment. It's a unique organization. And I couldn't figure out how to make the connection with the civilian sector. Her and I ended up getting divorced. 9/11 happened. I was living in Virginia at the time with another Ranger buddy of mine that had gotten out, Todd Supernaut. And that's when I decided. I waited about 4 or 5 months to kind of see how it played out, and realized this is going to be a longer war than what we've seen in the past. I could just tell. It's going to be a holy war to some degree. And I made some phone calls, got a hold of my last platoon sergeant, God rest his soul, Gunny Beret was the last platoon sergeant I had in 2nd Ranger Battalion. He was actually a 1st sergeant by the time I tracked him down in 1st Ranger Battalion in Savannah, Georgia. Told him I wanted back in, and he made a couple phone calls. I went to MEPS. I said, look up my information, and they thought I was a crazy guy. And I said, just look up my information, please. It's all in the system. I got to go through you to get down to Fort Benning.
Yeah.
They looked up and like, how the hell did you figure out? How did you do this? And blah 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 blah. I said, just contact 1st Sergeant Beret.
Yeah.
Once it was confirmed and everything was straight, I took off to Fort Benning, Georgia. Went back through RIP, knew all the instructors, and then ended up in 1st Ranger Battalion just before OIF 2. Knocked out 5 combat deployments with 175. Worked my way back, got my rank back, finished up my squad leader time, and went through the Special Forces program in '07. And then was assigned to 7th Special Forces Group, went to the CRIF for 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, and got a phone call July of '11 to take an ODA to war. And I said, hell yeah, I'm all over it.
Yeah.
And spent the next 4 years as a team sergeant. Took 2 teams to war, 2 long trips, and a team to Mexico for a great mission, counter-narcotics type mission with their Tier 1 element. So I had an awesome career, wouldn't change a thing, and I retired in about 3 months.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. That's a lot of
Been
shit going on,
running and
yeah.
gunning for 22 years.
Dude, it's an honor to sit down with you.
Honored to be approached by you to share a little bit of what I got in my brain housing group.
7th Special Forces Group, for some reason, every time I've met guys from them, spent time with them, seen them in Afghanistan, seems like there's a little difference there than the other Special Forces Group.
Because we got a lot of time over there.
Yeah, I just think I
did 6 combat deployments with 7th Group to war.
Yeah.
So I got 11, 12 visits, but I claim 11 good trips.
Yeah.
And 6 of those, 7, but 6 were with 7th Special Forces Group. 7th Special Forces Group and 3rd Special Forces Group held down the majority of, and still to this day, the majority of the requirement from SecDef to fulfill ODAs on the ground, because we're trying to push into a FID type focus.
Yeah.
Granted, we're still whipping some ass I found out today through an undisclosed source that the guys that just got back from Afghanistan with Green Berets on their heads, I'm not going to give out all the information, but they had a formation, they had a award ceremony a couple days ago, and they gave out 30 Purple Hearts.
Wow.
That's a lot of Purple Hearts.
Yeah.
Not gave out, but awarded.
Yeah, yeah.
Over 30 Purple Hearts recently.
Wow. Yeah.
So they're getting shit done.
Yeah, and shit's
but they're
still
not
happening.
Still not slowing down.
Yeah. And see, nobody will hear about that though.
Oh, hell
and
no.
They just hear about maybe there's like a death in Africa, or there's like, they hear about the onesies and twosies, and people are like, hey, wait, what are we doing in Africa? It's like, motherfuckers, wake up. We're at war all over the fucking world right now.
48 countries.
Yeah. And
not cities, countries.
You can't blame that on the military, because the people that we've elected are the ones that put us everywhere. It's
yeah.
So if you want to see that changed, you got to do something different. But right now, with the things the way they are, that's going to continue. So
if you pull out of every locale where we've got soft focus missions going down and the whole asymmetrical warfare that we've kind of been dealing with for the past 15, 16, 18 years, whatever the heck, we've been going out for about almost 17 years. All you're going to create is less white space for America and our allies.
Yeah.
If we're not out there being proactive, whether you believe it or not, that is going to decrease our white space, our safe space on the planet.
Yeah.
Because there's a global agenda to take over with Sharia law.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
It's not a conspiracy. I'm not crazy. It's a fact.
Yeah. So I can speak to it from having been out for a while. I've started looking at things from a lot. Basically, I'm like, hey, I'm a civilian now. Like, yeah, I'm a retired veteran, whatever, but I'm
trying to kilo it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, let me see what we're doing as a citizen, as citizens to like support the military, and what's the picture look like. I was also involved in a couple campaigns. Mm-hmm. My cousin has ran for Congress twice now in Dallas, and once you start seeing how disconnected our populace is from the warfighters, from the actual concept of what's going on, of what you just described, the white space and all that, there's just such a huge disconnect. We have the least amount of veterans serving in Congress right now in history of America. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been
that might have something to do with their approval rating.
There hasn't been a declaration of war since the global war on terrorism, and so there's no accountability on the congressional side or the Senate side for all these operations around the world. They can completely wash their hands of it because they have no
not take
dedication
any
to it.
responsibility.
So I've become a big component of sort of the total war mindset of we're either all in or we're all out. And right now, it's great that we are creating these white spaces around the world, and thank God we have guys over there doing it. But it's bullshit because it's not. There isn't that connection. There isn't that buy-in from the Congress, Senate, and from the American people. Right now, we have a military class of people that is like doing all this shit, and
we got second-generation warriors right now.
And our country has no ownership.
I've got buddies that are retired that have sons in SOF now.
Yeah.
So we fought. We're going into our second generation of SOF-focused battle across the globe. Now, the same source that I got information from this morning or this afternoon about the 30-plus Purple Hearts from the previous trip.
Yeah.
The recent trip. That the ROE has shifted for the better.
Yeah.
And
with the new president.
They are thanks to SecDef Mattis and General Mattis and President Trump and General Kelly and everybody else that he's wisely surrounded himself with. They're definitely making big gains but it's not going to be without hardship and loss. But at least it's still, at least what we have all wanted in our community for the past, from my perspective, since 2003, late 2002 to late 14 when I got back from my 11th trip, there should have been quicker responses from those requests for more air power, or hey, I want to just raise this whole village because they're all bad. Granted, you got land of, you got the Geneva Convention, all that stuff, but the ROE could have been shifted to benefit our warriors instead of protecting the enemy.
Yeah.
Because we're fighting an insurgency, you don't know if you're fighting a bad guy or a civilian because they're all dressed the same.
Yeah.
Until you get drawn down upon, or see your Ranger buddy or your Marine brother get blown up by an IED, and then AKs pointing out the windows shooting at you guys, shooting at a baited ambush based or an IED based ambush.
Yeah.
You don't know that village bad, right?
Yeah.
So the ROE that was with the previous president wasn't good. Wasn't the set ROE that should have been in place for our time.
Yeah.
Which has only evolved with a stronger enemy with more assets.
Yeah. Which I think really hurt our conventional forces in a big
time.
way.
Yeah,
big way.
time.
They lost a bunch of
2012 was a
people.
very, very bad year for not only SOF. We had 48 casualties on my 2012 rotation, the most ever for SF, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And conventional forces during that same rotation, whose battle space we were in and out, trying to disrupt and increase that white space, that friendly space, that safe area, were taking massive casualties because they were ordered to not break the speed limit, drive 15 miles an hour in a tank, while you got all these idiots running around with RPGs that will fuck the tank up.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're just
10th Mountain Division lost like 60, 70, 80 guys.
Yeah, 3-5 Marines.
Boys out in Marja.
Yeah.
Boys in Marja.
Yeah.
That had a whole company.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, not to go down memory lane, when I got back from my last deployment, I was batshit crazy, off my rocker. Tolerance for bullshit was absolutely zero.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give anybody the opportunity to make their point. It was black and white.
Yeah.
Ranger handbook, and you don't know shit. 5-paragraph op order, what? What'd you say?
Yeah.
Situation, mission, execution, service, support, command, and signal.
Yeah.
There's a set standard, and that's going to be enforced, right? And if you deviate out of that, you're an idiot, and I would just want to shut your ass down, or so to speak. My chain of command, Colonel Fitch, who I love and respect, and my surgeon, Trip Johnson, great doc, and a handful of other folks were like, Scotty needs some help.
Yeah.
So I get introduced to this post-deployment rehabilitation program based out of Tampa, Florida, VA.
Okay.
They actually got them in the four corners of the United States.
And so on active duty, you were able to go.
I'm still active duty.
Yeah.
So I got sent down there, active duty, Green Beret. Got admitted. Building 38, Tampa, VA, top floor, above the spinal facility that they have for our brothers that get paralyzed and whatnot, lose limbs. So the first, you have to stay for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Can't drink or self-medicate. They piss test you every Sunday.
Yeah.
You live in the hospital. You can still go out and do whatever, go to the gym and hit the grocery store or whatever. Go sit underneath an oak tree and eat a bagel and say the Ranger Creed over and over again. Whatever you want to do. But you're going to be in that sack by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
The first 3 weeks were tough. I was like, man, fuck this. I'm a goddamn warrior. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah. Not a rat in a cage.
Well, the nursing staff was amazing. I give them tons of credit. I love them. I call down there every now and then just to let them know that Shaitan's still alive and I'm staying focused and working on the things I realized I had some issues. So anyway, after about a month and a half, about 5 weeks or so, I started sleeping a little bit better. Not to get into the weeds and drag this out. It took about 5-6 weeks for me to start seeing, holy shit, these people might be onto something.
Yeah.
My attitude's getting a little bit better. I'm not drinking as much coffee. I'm not dipping as much. I haven't been drinking for 5 fucking weeks because they piss tested me every Sunday.
Yeah.
And if you failed a piss test, you were kicked out. And if you're on active duty like I was and still am, it would destroy me. Mm-hmm. If I got kicked out of there for being an idiot, they would just be like, all right, you're going to either get medically boarded or just relieved for your inability to maintain for another 2 years before you can retire when you're 20.
Yeah.
So I really had to do some self-preservation type meditation. And I remember I was doing, every day I would see 7 different docs to include voc rehab. So neurology, psychology. I was doing exposure therapy with a psychologist or psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Whichever one's bigger than the other. Psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Pain management, physical therapy, speech therapy, voc rehab, and whatnot. Every day I'd see all of them, every single day. And then on Thursdays, I would sit in a boardroom, just me and the docs, and they'd go around the horn and say, hey, this is what we've fixed, discovered, what we're going to work on next week, so on and so forth. So they kept you involved throughout the entire process.
That's key. That's key.
Once I started realizing these people give a fuck,
that's
when I started really trying to do what they were requesting of me.
Mm-hmm.
4.5 months later, I got discharged with 29 diagnoses, all documented with post-op write-ups and discharge summaries for everything. That way, when I retire in 3 months, when I sit before the medical folks, going through that whole thing, I open up that packet and they look at it like, oh shit, okay, yep, it's all here, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have to go down the road that take 2-3 year long road that a lot of our soft brothers have had to go down to get the benefits, the ratings,
dude,
that they honestly deserve. I know guys with 12, 15 goddamn combat deployments, real trips, that still have 0% or 20%.
Guys with their legs cracked off who are getting 30%, 20%.
While a fucking mechanic, light wheel mechanic, who slipped and fell and pissed himself and got PTSD because everyone made fun of him for a fucking month, is getting 100%.
Yeah. It's unreal how the abuse.
And obviously I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
Just like you.
There's rampant abuse going on, and just any type of social program like that it should be. That's why a lot of guys I've talked to with real combat wounds, there needs to be a distinction, a separation of like, hey, you're combat wounded. You were in special operations. Hey, you're going in this category. And
I mean, President Washington designed a great piece of recognition called the Purple Heart.
Yeah.
And typically when you get a Purple Heart, it follows with a Bronze Star for Valor or a Silver Star or a Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
Right? So
where did we go off the rails there?
Well, I mean, the point I wanted to bring up is that you got all these benevolent organizations that popped up over the course of the longest war in history for the United States.
Yeah, we're about to have people that weren't born when it started be able to fight in it.
Exactly. And
pretty wild.
They were so passionate about helping us, there became a tight little ball of fucks that took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it morphed itself into this cancer that I see right now before my fucking eyes.
Yeah.
People taking advantage of the benevolent folks out there and organizations and great fucking people like the Fisher House and so on and so forth. Because money's gold and everybody wants some of it.
Yeah. And we're so, right now for a lot of these treatments, like you luckily you were able to experience that. I know a lot of guys who are not
There's only 7 beds.
Not pulled aside like that, or like people don't recognize it and they just get treated like shit, or like, oh, you just have a bad attitude.
Yeah. You're just trying to get out of this combat trip.
We know you've served with honor and done all these fucking combat tours and done all this badass shit, but you know what? You just seem you're just a fucking shitbag.
You're just a quitter.
You're a shitbag.
You're a shitbag. Like, you're this. You're that.
No, people don't turn into shitbags overnight.
No, they're not.
There's something going on there, and it really takes people recognizing that and doing. I'm really suggesting for them on active duty to start this type of thing. We need to start identifying this shit even earlier on before they did with you. Before you get that far along, what I'm saying is we need to start doing, when you're doing your after deployment rotation and stuff, you need to go into something like that. But not necessarily, maybe not that strict, but like some of these things that I've benefited from are like outpatient therapy programs. I'm getting ready to do one up at Marcus Institute for Brain Health. And if we do these 3-week periods where you're just like, your mission is basically doing physical therapy for your brain. Hey, let's get your brain fitted back up. And now we're not waiting for this stuff to build up years down the road, because as special operation guys, we can keep pushing through this shit until we fucking die.
Yep, I agree.
Until we fucking die. And it really needs to be built in to the post-deployment recovery program to just like I think you'll see the longevity of guys operating at their fullest potential extend out.
Yep.
And you won't run into these problems.
7th Special Forces Group, which I've been a part of since 2008, really started to focus on us as operators. Figure out why we got guys killing themselves, why we got guys getting arrested for DUIs, beating up their old ladies, beating the shit out of the neighbor, or killing the neighbor. Or the amount of individual operator like self-destruction was off the charts back in like post 2012, 13, something like that. And Colonel Fitch, Colonel Cannell, Colonel Riga, Colonel Carlton, the current group commander, and pretty much every sergeant major underneath them. My favorite, Sergeant Major Tebow, Emil Alvarez, Brian Rary, that whole generation, Sergeant Major Z, you got to throw his name out there. That whole generation of sergeant majors and group commanders started to see it, because we were all running that op tempo together.
Yeah.
And we would come back, and guys would go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Wives were whoring around on them, or they can't deal with the mundane or the non-action, just laying around the house. They got to get out of the house and go do something. Got to get out there and stay active, right? Yeah. That leads to drinking hard. That leads to partying. That leads to fighting. That leads to this. That leads to that. And what they're doing now, we've started a group therapy sessions at the unit level. So we got E8s come together, sit down and talk, shoot the shit. There's really no do's or don'ts. And we want to discuss, have we identified anybody the past month that might need a little bit of help? Yeah. An intervention.
That's so important. We need
That never took place.
We need that across
That never took place at my unit until Colonel Cannell and the rest, Sergeant Major Tebow, and the handful of other folks, most of which I've already mentioned, they started digging into it and trying to fix the problem, not just, that guy's a piece of shit. He's just fucked up. The rest of us are good. Let's just keep going. Yeah. Identify it, and let's figure out how we're going to fix it. And those group sessions that identify guys that need help is making big waves for the positive. The still 8 ganglion block shots that we've been finally starting to get, thanks to the USOC surgeon and Doc Mulvaney, who works at the Walter Reed. Back in 2015, I think it was 15, yeah. I flew TDY to Walter Reed. It was after I came back from prep. My surgeon trip was like, hey, dude, I just saw this study that USOC surgeon put together. He did a study on 180 operators from Ranger Regiment, CAG, Dev Group, guys with a ton of trips, a lot of high op tempo. And what they discovered is the fight or flight response to the brain has no time to come down and turn off.
Yeah.
They don't ever calm down necessarily. They're switched on.
Yeah.
And by staying switched on 24/7, you're not sleeping, you're not fun to talk to,
No.
you're not sociable,
Yeah.
your family network is destroyed, your friends that you have that you didn't go to war with become a little bit perturbed or scared of you.
Yeah.
You become a hermit, you become socially not active, and then you either
Isolated.
become isolated, and you're fighting what the fuck is going on. Why can't I blend in anymore? Why can't I be the life of the party? Why am I not the cool guy I was 10 years ago? So I flew out there TDY, linked up with Doc Mulvaney at Walter Reed, and got that shot. And I'm not kidding, brother. Within 5 minutes, I felt that giant tick on my back.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah. Wow. And so.
So now we got guys in 7th Group and across the regiment getting stellate ganglion blocks.
Yeah.
Across.
And that's the injection of like lidocaine or modcaine or something. And
there's a nerve bundle that back here in the back of your neck that does a whole host of stuff.
Yeah.
Your voice box, your vision, your this, that, and the other. And thanks to the USOC surgeon, the same nerve bundle is what triggers that response to the brain to either run or just fall to the ground and cry and scream until you die.
Yeah.
It shuts off everything for. It turns that it's a mixture of lidocaine that they inject into that nerve bundle.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. They do a local block, and then they go in there. You watch it on ultrasound. It takes 5 minutes, literally.
Yeah.
Inject a certain amount of lidocaine mixture into that nerve bundle. It turns everything off. You get a little hoarse throat.
It's like setting the reset
It's
button.
a reset button, brother.
And giving your brain a chance to just like.
That night, I went back to my hotel.
Take a breath.
I had dinner with my captain I mentioned earlier, with Ben Harrow and his wife, my doc, and Todd, the other gentleman I mentioned earlier. Went to a nice little tapas bar. I had 1 beer and like 5 glasses of water.
Yeah.
Ben had a few drinks. Tripp had several. Everybody was loose and having fun, bullshitting, telling war stories. And the next thing you know, my captain, my team leader, goes, hold on. He's from New York, so he's got that tough guy. Plus, he's a West Point stud. He's like, hold on. Where the fuck is my team sergeant? Where the fuck did Scotty go?
Yeah.
You'd be fucking 10 drinks into this right now.
Yeah.
You'd be the life of the fucking party. You'd want to go out and bar hop the rest of the fucking week or rest of the night. I go, hey, brother, I'm still here. But I don't want to fuck up how good I feel right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he goes, thank God.
Yeah.
I've been worried about you. And that's when I realized, and I looked across at everybody, and everybody's like, holy fuck, it works. Because I was like the test dummy.
Yeah.
So I got back, did a little write-up, and next thing you know, the senior pain management from Eglin Air Force Base Hospital, who we go see for our injuries and whatnot, gets flown out TDY to Walter Reed to hang out with Doc Mulvaney for a month and see how he does the operation. Came back, and then the doors were open for 7th Group to go in there and get the stellate ganglion block shot. And what that does is it's resetting guys. And I'm telling you, I've had 5 of them.
Yeah.
I got 11 combat trips, so I needed to reset a lot.
Yeah.
But each time got better. Didn't last that long. Like the first one lasted maybe 3 months, and then I started slipping back into my routine. So I went and got another one.
Yeah.
And that was good for a couple months. But each time I got the next one, it gave me that 2-3 months of holy fuck. I was a psychopath before I got the first one.
Yeah.
I was way off the grid.
Yeah.
And it's not my fault. I mean, I went to war a lot.
Yeah.
I did what I was told to do.
Exactly.
I was patriotic as fuck.
We were really good at our
and
job.
super good at our jobs, right?
Yeah.
But you combine that with the the
repetitive blast exposures.
Repetitive blast exposure, and that's non-repairable.
Yeah.
My short-term memory is getting worse. I'm not gonna tell you a fucking dope walking around. I don't know who the fuck I am or who I'm talking to, but I forget like names. I forget little things that I remember not forgetting back in the day. My short-term memory's gotten a little bit of fuzz going on, but there's hyperbaric oxygen treatment. I've done that. Done 47 dives.
I haven't done that one yet.
Works great.
How did it feel afterwards? And have you seen sort of like these shots? Did the symptoms kind of like dissipate and then they like start coming back over time? Like,
that's the thing that I like to tell folks. It's a combination of everything. The 4.5 months I spent living in that hospital in Tampa, pulled me off the grid, away from work, away from war, away from the family, away from every distraction.
Yeah.
And all I had was these 7 experts in their field of study that gave a fuck, trying to get me better.
Yeah.
Not only identifying what was wrong with me, those 29 diagnoses, and they're all chronic this, chronic that, PTSD, mild to moderate TBI. My spine's fucked up from jumping for 22 years.
Yeah.
I got hemorrhage discs all down my spine I never knew about. From my C2 to C6, and in the middle of my shoulders, I got 2 discs doing the same thing in my lower right lumbar. I'm gonna have to have surgery at some point to fix all that shit because they're all smashed down together, and the pads are pushing back into my spinal fluid.
Oh, okay.
I've got 3 kinks in my spinal fluid.
Oh, wow.
You're supposed to have clear path.
Oh, yeah.
Because that spinal fluid's what's sending messages to all your nerves and stuff.
Yeah.
Hands are always tingling like they're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always doing this. Every now and then I'll go to pack up a dip and the can will flop out of my hand.
Yeah.
Right? And I never would have known any of this stuff if I hadn't gotten sent to prep.
Yeah.
You know, NICO's another good organization.
Yeah.
I never went, but I know a lot of guys who have.
So Marcus Institute for Brain Health is the neurologist who started NICO.
Okay.
He moved on and started Marcus Institute for Brain Health. He was donated like $54 million from the one of the starters of Home Depot to basically start the NICO program, but for veterans.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to go to that, and I'll be doing
You spend a month there, and they go all out.
I'll be doing a vlog the whole time to share with everybody who wants to know about it. But
so going back to 7th Group or Eglin Air Force Base 96 Medical Group.
Yeah.
From my interaction and focus of trying to get better, when I realized, okay, I'm retiring, I'm not going back to war anytime soon. I need to get better before I get out. Before I end up dead on my motorcycle from drinking and driving, or in jail for beating somebody to death that I think is just a human colostomy bag that needs to be taken off the planet, you know? Especially when you start having kids, you're like, oh, fuck that, I'm not gonna let that guy survive.
Yeah.
He needs to be away so that my 2 daughters don't have to fucking face him.
Things get very black and white and very primal.
Very primal. Caveman, caveman primal.
Yeah.
But we're smart cavemen.
Yeah.
Because our GT scores are 115 or higher.
Yeah. Back when the evolution was,
oh,
you said some fucked up shit, your skull's getting split.
Yeah. Oh no, we don't like you anymore. You're gonna go to the city town square, and we're gonna stone you to death.
Somehow now we got just a bunch of nerds running around.
Now if you don't have a good attorney, you're gonna spend the rest of your life in
locked in
Bubba's
a
fucking
cell.
armpit getting raped every night. Because you're small and he's big.
But dude,
so yeah, I think it's a combination, to go back to what you were discussing earlier. I think it's a combination of all that. The operator needs to have access to all of it.
Yes.
And I got to give Eglin Air Force Base a lot of credit, because they have just recently started to build a facility, because they're not only dealing with 7th Special Forces Group with a lot of deployments and issues. They got AVSOC at Hurlburt. They've been dealing with pilots with their issues, flying all those hours, doing all that bombardiering and ISR and everything that we got to do to paint the picture before we send our guys on the ground to go do God's work.
Yeah.
They're building a facility right now on Eglin to treat PTSD and TBI.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be doctors in there focused on nothing but repairing our SOF forces from across all branches.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be something that you're going to see across the United States where we have our boys stationed.
Yeah. I love what you're saying because it's something that I've been trying to put out for a while, and I'm glad to see things starting to move in this direction. I'd like it to ramp up faster and across the board, because I'm still talking to guys in MARSOC who are getting treated like, oh, you don't have TBI, it's only PTSD. Like, still that whole fucking game. Like,
Right.
hey, have we not fucking realized now with all the scientific studies like we were talking about right before the podcast, like we know this shit is causing fucking permanent damage now. So let's get over that. Let's figure out how we're gonna start.
What's starting to ramp
people.
things up is the new administration.
Yeah.
They give a fuck.
Yeah.
President Trump gives a fuck. I got to go to Washington D.C. a couple months ago on request of a benevolent organization, treatheroesnow.org, if I'm not mistaken. I could be messing this up, but treatnow.org is the name of the organization. They will pay for a veteran, active or retired, doesn't matter what war you're in.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of Vietnam veterans walking around with TBI
Oh,
and
yeah.
PTSD that never got diagnosed,
Yep.
that are on the brink of just executing themselves or doing some harm to somebody else
Yep.
because they have gotten no therapy sessions, no none of this. They'll put them they'll fly the individual to the nearest hyperbaric oxygen treatment facility,
Yeah.
put him in a hotel, feed him, and he'll get treated twice a day, 70 minutes every session. You go into the hyperbaric chamber, they drop you down 2 atmospheres, they crank up 100% oxygen, and it's flooding your brain with oxygen.
Wow.
Oxygen's going to places that never get to go to before.
So I actually went through dive medicine, so learned all about that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
It works.
So once you get down to pressure, it's hyperoxygenating all the tissues in your body. That pressure is forcing oxygen into the cells all over the body, and they see a lot of repair from like bacterial. They've like super bad bacterial infections. They're like antibiotics isn't touching. Bacteria can't survive in a super oxygen environment, so it takes care of that. And
My memory got better, and my sleep pattern got better. My attitude got better. I saw a lot of benefits of it.
nice.
But it's something that has to be maintained,
Yeah.
just
And-
like everything else.
And so what I would like to see again is what we referenced is treating way ahead of time. Before we have these roundtables where we recognize the guys, which I think is also awesome, is build it into the redeployment system.
Yeah,
where
definitely.
where we're doing a lot of these treatments as preventive medicine, right?
You know why that hasn't
Yeah.
happened yet? When I flew to D.C. with treatnow.org, I sat down with Trump's appointed secretary to the VA.
Yeah.
Not secretary, Trump's appointed advisor for the VA. Leinenkugel, that beer company.
Really?
Leinenkugel.
yeah.
The guy that owns that
Yeah.
is who Trump appointed to be the advisor to the VA
Okay.
to help fix the VA.
Yeah.
He's about to wrap it up, and somebody else that's just as passionate. He's a former Marine,
Okay.
retired Marine, and a successful, extremely successful businessman out of Wisconsin. I can't remember his name because my memory sucks. I got it on my phone if you want to pull it up, but he's an awesome individual. I got to sit in a room with him across the street from the VA headquarters
Yeah.
in a boardroom and share my story, and we ended up talking for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
What was supposed to be a 2-hour session, he was
Yeah.
picking up his phone. Nope, cancel the appointment. Cancel that meeting. Cancel that. I'm not leaving here. We're having a great discussion.
Yeah.
And the VA unfortunately moves slow,
Oh yeah.
but there's plenty of money. It's a $500 billion
Oh yeah.
purse that they get to
Yeah.
do stuff with, right? There's plenty of money, and I kept emphasizing it costs $5,000 to run a guy through 43 dives or 47 dives, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and that stops people from killing themselves.
Yeah.
That brings that 22 a day a lot lower.
Yeah.
If it becomes readily accessible, like you just said, to all of our veterans, both actively serving and retired. It should be something the VA covers immediately.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to see that as a post-deployment protocol. Then we're identifying guys that maybe slipped through cracks and they're running into trouble, or they've already done that and they're starting to, like, the effects of it are fading. Hey, let's get them sidelined, get in a program. Then when we're getting out through the VA, we have it set up where you're getting these at a regular basis. And I think, like we said before, we're very fortunate that we've had benevolent organizations that have been sending guys to programs like this, but it's the access for it. Guys have to know about it. They have to hear about it, like on a podcast like this, and then they have to go online, apply for it themselves. You're talking about guys with, like, brain injuries, filling out paperwork and stuff, which can get super frustrating. Once you start getting that, like, frustrating flight, it's like, oh, fuck this paperwork.
I got 500 other things I need to do, and I'm just going to put this off.
Instead of filling out the form to, like, better yourself and go to this brain thing, you end up just breaking your laptop
and opening up a bottle of Jack and just saying,
fuck it.
Let's work on this next month.
Let me just go run my Harley at a fucking 120 down the fucking interstate. Like, so yeah, people need people reaching out to them. That's what I tell people. If you are a guy with brain injury, don't be overwhelmed by the applications for these programs. You got to get in them. It's something that we need to start doing on a regular basis to keep your brain healthy. It's like doing physical therapy for your injured shoulder. You know, you get it repaired, and then something happens, and you get it tweaked again, injured again. You go back to physical therapy. Same thing for our brains. We got to keep at it with this stuff. Find what's working, and we need to start building these programs within the VA that, like, encapsulates all of them.
And those active duty centers, those TMCs that our soft guys have to go to get fixed. The one thing I hadn't mentioned that I wanted to make sure we talked about before we wrapped it up was the psychiatrist. Yeah. So I have seen the same psychiatrist for almost 4 years. It's typically once a month. There's been times I'm like, dude, I'm about to fucking staple my dog to this tree and empty my fucking 45 into its fucking head. Yeah. I want to come talk to you. And he drops everything, and I go see him, and we shoot the shit. Sometimes we just talk about life. Yeah. Sometimes we identify an issue, and he'll use his medical psychiatrist background, whatever. He worked at Walter Reed for about 6 years at the early part of GWAT. Okay. Worked at Walter Reed early on, and he gets it. He speaks your language. You feel comfortable with him. You trust him, and that's the key, right?
That is so key.
So you got to get operators in our community to trust, get good psychiatrists at these locations where they want to help us, that speak the language, that have the right background, because we're always, if you're sent somewhere, you're picking up the phone and you're calling everybody you can think of, because we're smart operators that might perhaps know this individual, and we're vetting them before we even go see them. So we're gonna have our own perception if this guy's good or not, or gal, prior to even going in there. So you got to have people that are identified through the soft community as good fucking medical practitioners that can help us.
And somebody you can be honest with.
And get rid of the stigma. Yeah, I go to a psychiatrist. Yeah. I've got a great job lined up.
I've gone to a therapist, civilian therapist out in Dallas.
I use an Air Force guy. He's a stud, Doc W.
I found somebody I could connect with, and that I knew I could actually work with some shit. And I had a really bad experience at the VA, but I didn't let that stop me. Hey, I'm gonna find somebody I can fucking talk to about this shit.
Exactly.
You know? And I think you made a great point. Like, fucking, vetted people that are readily available. Because in a system like that, where you're on active duty, you only have so many choices unless you want to go out in town and pay for yourself. Which people shouldn't have to be doing. Right?
Of course, yeah. We're just above poverty. Yeah. Unless you stay deployed. If you just sat at your desk and went home every night, or went out and trained and shot guns and went home every night, and never got that tax-free dollar, you wouldn't be making enough money to go outside of paying for your house, your mortgage, your rent, your insurance, your car payments, your utility bills, your kids' clothes and food and internet and this, that, and the other. We don't make that much money. Yeah. That's a misconception in the civilian sector. Yeah. But by pulling guys together like you and I, and the number has gotten a lot bigger. Yeah. Guys who have got help, and became smarter, faster.
We've started wrapping our heads. The access to information we have now, we see when these studies are coming out, and we're like, oh, we know this information. But then you go talk to a neurologist who's like, well, see, we just don't know anything about TBI. It's like, yeah, actually,
your range of motion's fine. Everything's good with you.
Yeah, like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So just because I didn't let a 50 cal fall on my forehead when I was putting it away at the arms rim, but I have 11 combat deployments, and I've eaten countless thousands of blasts.
Yeah, and you're a breacher instructor.
Master breacher.
Master breacher.
Blowing shit up. Back in the day, P for plenty. You never had a failed breach, so you always made it a little extra big. And if you didn't walk out of that operation with breacher's tape all over your fucking Oakleys, you weren't close enough, because you need to get in that house as fast as humanly possible. Because once you alert the fucking bad guys in it that you just blew the door off its hinges, they're all pointing their guns and shooting at that one entry point.
Yeah.
Not to go down a rabbit hole, but
almost every neurologist I've seen through my process getting treated by DOD and everything just looked at me like I was crazy talking about TBI, and I present to them like the stuff that's going on, and they're just like, blast waves, like what the? I had a neurologist who like, there's a big disconnect where you have.
They don't know what the fuck overpressure is.
Yeah, you have a neurologist who doesn't even know what a fucking RPG is, doesn't know what a recoilless rifle round is, like.
Doesn't know what happens.
Like, doesn't know that like they can't wrap their heads around.
You're in a tuna can and it gets blown up.
Yeah.
The tuna can is sealed tight.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're like, oh, well, that doesn't do anything. The brain recovers after a week.
It's like the can is still together. It might be misshaped now, but the tuna fish is still in there.
And trying to make the whole like sports comparison. Like, and they're finding that there's permanent damage from the sports concussions. But yet you're going to say that a blast wave is nothing. And it's just, there needs to be a broad, like, hey, let's update this shit.
But guess what?
Get with
I haven't thrown this out there yet, but I'm going to tell you, what's kept it moving slowly is the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah. That and, well, Trump is also making some changes to being able to fire people in these government jobs. That's been another huge problem, is stagnation.
Mainstream media hasn't said shit about it, but he has been cleaning house and helping us live longer.
Because you get these people like that who don't give a shit, right? They don't give a shit enough that they're the neurologists treating the guys who are wounded by blast wave concussions, but yet they know nothing about it.
I've got like 40 dead friends.
Yeah.
40 great guys just like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Family men, passionate, patriotic, volunteer to go to combat 12, 13, 14, just countless times.
Yeah.
Maintain a family, stay out of trouble, and deal with their own shit internally for all these years, for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
I don't know. My memory's fucked. I was getting ready to tell you something really important. I'm trying to remember what the fuck I was talking about.
40 of your friends?
Oh, yeah. So it stayed at 39 for a long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, another good guy, Josh Burnett, took his own life in Destin 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Put a gun to his head on the phone with his mom, who he didn't have a good relationship with, and his girlfriend, who he was planning on marrying very soon back then. He had a house getting built by Gary Sinise Foundation. Mm-hmm. He's a double amputee, dog handler for 7th Group. Things were starting to get back on track for him. We were all like, hey, dude, just let these benevolent organizations help you.
Yeah.
Try to help. I know it's difficult. I can't put myself into your perspective, not being able to walk on your born God-given legs, but there's a better route for you.
Yeah.
Once the girlfriend said, hey, I'm leaving you, I'm going back to live with my dad and fuck my old boyfriend. And sorry, I don't want to be your wife.
Yeah.
He had been drinking heavy, put a gun to his head, and fucking shot himself.
Drinking, isolation,
feeling fucking separated from all your brothers and sisters out there that you've been going to war with and doing God's work with.
Yeah.
Not having anybody out, no support network from your previous unit that you used to shed tears with and dedicate 24 hours a day to getting better at your skill set.
You haven't been to any of these programs where you felt some relief.
Never went to any program.
Get better.
Never pushed to. never ordered by his chain of command to go to these organizations that are trying to do good, that are doing good. And now we're at 40 dead brothers. Of those 40, 10 of them have taken their own lives. Mm-hmm. And Josh is a good example. I spoke to him a month prior to that. I got a phone call. I was out running errands at night. One of my previous sergeant majors gave me a call. Hey, man, where you at? I'm out running around Destin, getting shit done, running some errands. What's up? Hey, man, come to Hooters. I'm hanging out with Josh and Bobby Dove. And Josh could probably use some motivation from Scotty.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. I went to Hooters, sat there for a couple hours, had a couple shots, and trying to get Josh to laugh, calm his ass down, let him spill his anger out, and got him back to fucking feeling good again, and then I had to get home. And then I'm off TDY somewhere, and I heard he killed himself.
Yeah.
And that's when I really just started getting passionate about sharing all the stuff that I've done proactively to try to get back centered, for a life post-war. And starting to see some stuff change for the good.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, it's not happening fast enough.
Yeah.
But hopefully this podcast will raise some more awareness and get people to start thinking about and asking lots of questions and figuring out what's available in their area for those veterans to get them some relief.
What I've been trying to tell people is, because I think strong men like Josh and myself, like you, if we end up hitting those little trifectas of isolation, fucking you boozed up everything, the
self-medication, isolation,
it's in quick, it happens fast, and we react fast. We're fast movers, we're doers, right? And so we do everything all out. And so when it comes, once we hit that little trifecta or whatever,
once you hit that threshold,
that cocktail of shit, we're not little bitches. We'll
fuck this, I'm gonna make myself happy.
Yeah,
bam.
Yeah. Oh, there isn't an answer to this fucking pain. I know I can fucking take care of this shit. Boom, fucking take it to the next level.
10 of my brothers have taken their own lives from wounds received during combat.
And that's why it's important that we talk to each other. If you feel yourself in the beginning of isolation, you gotta fucking
pick up the phone and call your brother.
Call somebody. And then just realize that we're not necessarily gonna be able to heal what's going on, but you can improve your quality of life. I think that's a really good goal, is like, hey, I'm not trying to make all this fucking myriad of shit that we're seeing with brain injuries, from your hormones getting jacked up to the fine dust pattern of, you're talking about the salt and pepper of scar tissue in the brain, all this stuff. It can get overwhelming, right? The vestibular system all fucked up. Just start reaching out to these programs, the benevolent organizations, find these programs that are working. Just start a meditation practice by yourself, like breathing, giving your brain these breaks, right? And it's these small steps that are you're gonna see your quality of life improve. Yeah, I still deal with fucking migraine seizure bullshit. I just had one the fucking other day, right? And it's fucking terrible. But
I'm still waking up 4 times in the middle of the night.
But I've found little things.
But I know I can calm the fuck down through my breathing techniques.
Yeah.
Through yoga, stretching, turning every fucking apparatus off.
Yeah. And
just sitting there and talking to myself and relaxing, breathing, calming down, stretching, doing some, I'm a rookie at yoga. I can't do 90% of the shit that they attempted to try to get.
You should try my warrior yoga. You should
follow
along with
I
that.
should. I'm all about it. Just some fucking flutter kicks.
It's meant for guys who've had a rough fucking life. My buddy
I kind of cope through I do a heavy PT session every day, and that calms me down.
Yeah,
That's where I find my chi.
Yeah.
Like tonight, for example, I ran for an hour.
But even like your captain said when or the West Point grad, when he noticed
Captain Ben Harrow,
that change in you with the gangland shots, right?
Oh yeah.
So some people don't realize that it's something as simple as that can give you that little breath for your brain.
For that clarity.
Yeah. And it's funny because people, they hear, oh, you have migraines. They think of every married walking dick that has migraines in their life. Like there's probably 20 people outside this door that have migraines, right? There's a lot more going on with
the migraine.
TBI. It's
you
like
got second order effects. Now I'm thinking about all the
Yeah.
fucking shit I've been involved with, all the friends I've lost, all the survivor's guilt, all the fucking, all the issues you got with your marriage or friends that you've just said fuck off. You're not going to talk to them anymore. You shut yourself down and you become this ball of fucking hate and anger. And then once you reach that threshold, like you spoke about earlier, you got one or two options. You got two options. Kill yourself, take your life to end the pain, or pick up the fucking phone and call a brother that's going to answer and start asking for some help.
Yeah.
You know, for the longest time, I remember early on in my career, if you went to sick call, you were a pussy.
Oh, yeah. I was under the same.
And if it was from the waist down, you got some fucking foot powder.
Yeah.
And it was pain from the waist up, you got some fucking Motrin.
Yeah.
Now get the fuck out and go back to work.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a fuck.
We're all dealing with this shit. Fucking get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's like the CBD use. So a lot of people are like, oh, what's the CBD or whatever. And then guys that know me or people that are around me enough to see me in these migraine states, and then I take CBD and 15 minutes later the pain starts decreasing. 20 minutes later I can actually like speak normally again, and then I also get like tremors in my arms and legs and shit, and those stop after 30 minutes. It's like the ganglion thing. He noticed that shift, and it's important that we start seeing that and sharing that, because other men and women that are dealing with this shit need to know where they can start trying things. Try those shots out. Try CBD for your fucking headaches and shit like that. Like it's
go to NICO, go to PrEP.
We got to keep talking about this shit.
Go to a psychiatrist that your brothers have all been using on a regular basis, that can help you get shit off your chest.
Yeah.
And compartmentalize. Quit. Guys in our field of work, you go out and you kill a bunch of bad guys, or you kill a bunch of bad guys, you got women and children screaming everywhere. Maybe women and children were caught in a crossfire or blast, and they're fucking dying, screaming their last fucking 3 minutes of life. Meanwhile, your buddy's over here bleeding out. You lose another good fucking buddy of yours, and you have to compartmentalize it and go back out the next night.
Yeah.
They don't stop war
because
we've lost somebody.
Yeah.
Or we had civilian casualties on the battlefield. Or you're trying to do something good like a med cap, provide medical facilitation to an offshoot, far-reaching, undisclosed location out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and some asshole rolls in on a motorcycle and blows himself up, and now you're dealing with 50 fucking casualties and destroying every fucking good thing you've done for the last 2 weeks embedded in that village.
Yeah.
All that stuff has to get put away in your filing cabinet in your brain. But operators don't get that opportunity, because why? You do a 6 to 10 month tour, you come home for a month or two, and then you're ramping back up for the next 4 or 5 months to go right back over there and do it again. Yeah. You get no time to reset. Yeah. You haven't followed away all those memories.
You have to stay in the game.
You've got to stay in the game.
You stay in the game, or you make a mistake and you die on deployment.
Or you make a mistake.
You step.
You don't mitigate risk because you become a hothead.
Yep.
You're not doing the proper planning prior to going outside the wire.
Yep.
You're running a little loose, and you may survive, but not 2 or 3 of your buddies are dead.
Yeah.
So.
Well, dude, hey, I think we still have a lot more ground to cover.
I'd be honored to come back and talk again, brother.
We're here for a week, so I'd like to sit down with you again.
Be great.
Before we part ways. And
just talking tonight has calmed me the fuck down.
That's awesome, dude. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, and I definitely want to sit down with you again.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Good times.
Yeah, we didn't do the.
But before I want to rock. I want to. Yeah. Most operators are great fucking singers.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, brother.
All right, dude.
Good chat.
Yeah, we'll sit down again.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Later.